Well, now, Nigeria's National Bureau of Statistics says inflation has dropped again from a 2 percentage point in August to 15.9% in September. Well, on Tuesday, the Bureau released its Consumer Price Index report, which measures inflation, and in it explained that the drop in Nigeria's inflation rate in September was the 8th consecutive month that the index would be declining since January. Now, on a month-on-month basis, the NBS stated that the headline index increased slightly in September against the almost 1% recorded in August. Well, let's discuss this further. And economist Osilama Okuofu joins me in the studio to talk more about this. Many thanks for your time, Mr. Okuofu. Yes, this would be a good news for many, I would say. Not for many, maybe for the government. But many Nigerians will say this may be a cosmetic movement, because if you're going to look at it in tandem with reality, it's not the same. What's your take?
My take is what you just said. It's cosmetic. Essentially, inflation actually portends a general rise in the price levels, which is not good for any economy. Essentially, it means that cost of doing business is high, standard of living is low, purchasing power is low. Now, if for 8 consecutive months inflation has dipped in Nigeria, it's good news. I mean, under normal circumstances. But then the question is, what's driving that process? Now before I get to that point, now a reduction in inflation actually means that the cost of doing business in Nigeria has reduced. It means that purchasing power has increased. It means that standard of living has improved. But we don't feel that, essentially.
Really?
Now, so what I think is driving that are 2 things, really. A reduction in government spending, and then, of course, the high rate of interest. I mean, the MPC kept it at 14.5% during their last meeting. The Minister for Finance, shortly after the meeting, actually stated that 60% of the government's capital budget will be rolled over to next year. Where next year doesn't start in January. It depends on when the budget is passed and then signed into law. So it could actually start from March. Now, what this actually means is that both the fiscal and the monetary legs of the economy, they are carrying out a contractionary policy, monetary and fiscal, which is not good for, I keep saying,
exactly, I was
an
going
emerging
to ask
economy.
you, Osilama, if we keep having this trend,
yes,
where does this lead us?
It leads us...
Keep having the trend of a decline with headline inflation, but not same with food inflation. Where does this take Nigeria?
No, essentially, like I said, the economy is, whether we want to accept it or not, it's contracting, being squeezed from both sides, which is not a normal situation. Now, the 2 legs are actually supposed to be inversely related. But what we're seeing right now is a misnomer.
Be a bubble burst?
It's a bubble. It's certainly a bubble, and it's going to burst. But you see, what's going on is just, like you rightly said, it's cosmetic. And then it's at the expense of growth and development. For a growing and emerging economy, that's disaster waiting to happen.
I'm sure the government is rightly aware of this. What do you think they should be doing? Because, I'm very sure they are also working to ensure that food inflation declines like what we're having with the headline. What do you think should be the approach? Okay, maybe there should be a cosmetic in that area too, or if not? No,
there are some things you cannot gloss over. Some things you can't powder over. Now, you're talking of in a consumer price index. I mean, you and I go to the market, we make our purchases and all. It's not something the government can wave a magic wand and that is sorted out. It's a function of what your real and disposable income is. That is what determines the amount, value, and quality plus quantity of goods that you purchase. Now, you asked a very basic and important question. What must the government do? Now, the solution I see actually is not coming from the government. Okay. It's coming from the central bank. I think it has to come from the central bank, because the government has said, like I said, the fiscal leg, they've said we are not going to spend money. We're going to roll over to next year. Don't forget also that this government has not even executed up to 30% of the budget as it were, right? Especially with respect to capital expenditure. What I think the central bank needs to do is to quickly call a meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee. They don't need to wait for 2 to 3 months to do that. If there's an emergency, like I think we're in right now, they should call quickly for a meeting and reduce the monetary policy rate. Okay. It should be reduced, because you can't be squeezing the economy from one side and squeezing from the other side. Now, why I said the central bank needs to do that quickly is because now when you reduce the MPR, it essentially means that the deposit money banks will have adequate liquidity to extend facilities to their customers. Some of these people are manufacturers. Okay. It then essentially means that they can manufacture more, they can increase
borrow at a low interest rate.
Exactly, because the funds, of course, I mean, the base rate is right now 14.5%. Now, essentially, if you reduce that, set by 1 basis point or even 1.5 basis points, it's a whole lot.
Yeah, it's
when you critical mass it. So the central bank, for me, is the solution to where we are right. The government has clearly said our hands are tied. We can't do anything, concerning the expansion of this economy.
All right, so we would have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time, Osilama Okuofu. Thank you for coming on Business Tonight.
Thanks for having me, MSC.